All right, folks, here we are with Excel Chapter 3, Mid-Level 1. This one's all about airports and passenger traffic, and the purpose of this exercise is to really dig deep into chart making and editing within Excel. So I've got step 1 done because I've got my sheet open. So the first thing we want to do in step 2 is create a clustered column chart to depict the passenger counts at the 6 airports. So we're going to use quick analysis to do this. So we're going to highlight A4 to L10. So that's all the data here. And quick analysis pops out in the bottom corner when you put your mouse near it. And we're going to go to charts. And we've been told that we want to create a clustered column. And there it is right there. So I'm going to click on that. And now we've got a chart. So we're going to cut the chart and paste it in A15. So I've got it clicked, Control X, click in A15, Control V, and we've moved our chart and we're done with step 2. Next thing we want to do is customize it so it looks nice. Right now it's kind of all over the place. So first thing we want to do is add a chart title. So there's a placeholder here already. You can click on it and highlight it and then type in the title that we want, which is passengers by top US airports. And when you're done, you can not hit enter, but just click somewhere else and it'll lock it in. For some reason, when I added my chart, freeze panes activated. So if this happens to you where you're scrolling and this title sticks there and it's weird, go to the view menu and make sure you're clicked off your chart, freeze panes, and unfreeze. So now my sheet works as normal. Not sure why that activated, but it did. Next thing we need to do in bullet 2 is swap the data on the category and in the legend, because we want the legend to be years and we want the airports to be along the bottom axis. So if we click on our chart, and I believe we go to the design tab here, we need to do switch row column. So I'm going to click on that and we've got it how we want it now. So we've got airport names along the bottom and we've got our years as our legend. So each color above each airport represents a year. Oh, sorry about that. We don't need that open. Perfect. So that's good for bullet 2. Next thing we need to do is make our chart bigger. So we are going to change the size in the chart tools format area. This is the size part. So we want it to be 3.5 by 11.4. All right, so now it stretches across the bottom and you can see what you're looking at a lot better now than we could before. The last thing we need to do is apply style 7, the style 7 chart style. So that's in the chart tools design. We've got chart styles here. I'm going to hit the down arrow with the line above it and find number 7, which is this one here. So I'm going to click on that. And there we go. So that's it for step 3. Step 4, it says the value axis takes up a lot of space for the numbers. So you will adjust the value axis to simplify it. So bullet 1, we're going to change the display units to millions, and then we're going to edit the title. So the quick way to get to changing the units is if you double click on the axis here. Now I've got these dumb little things popping up, which is annoying. But in this sidebar, you'll scroll down, you'll see display units here. So make sure you have access options bolded here. That's how you get into that area if it didn't work. But display units, millions. So now it just gets rid of all the zeros. Perfect. So I'm just going to close this sidebar here because we don't need it for the next step. And what we need to do is change the title. So we have millions here, and we're going to change that to millions of passengers. Okay, and then when you're done, you can click somewhere else. And that's it for step 4. Step 5, we want to focus on the 2016 data series, and we're going to do that by adding data labels. So we want the data labels above the columns for 2016, the 2016 data series only. So to do that, we're going to click on our 2016 data series. So it goes in order from oldest to newest. So if I click on this once, you'll see I've got the dots around all the bars related to 2016. Next, what we want to do is if we're in the Chart Tools design area, go to Add Chart Element, and we want to find data labels. And we want them to be above our stuff. So let's, as you scroll down, it'll preview. So you can see it's kind of behind stuff now. But we want outside end. So you'll see all the numbers are there. Hit OK, and now we have data labels just for 2016 on top of each thing. So we're done step 5. Step 6, we're going to apply a fill color to make our chart look nicer. So we're going to choose light gradient accent 2 preset. So to do that, I'm going to double click the background of our chart to get to those options. I'm going to choose fill, and we want a gradient. And here we'll see preset gradients. We want to choose that drop down to find light gradient accent 2. So that's this orange one in the top column. So I'll click on that. And now we have a nice looking chart. So that's it for step 6. So I'm going to close this sidebar again because we don't need it. Next thing in step 7 is we're going to add chart text for accessibility compliance. So this is if someone's using a screen reader, it will tell the visually impaired person what the chart is. So to add alt text, we're going to right click on an area. Whoop. Let's see why it's doing that. Right click on the chart, and near the bottom it'll say edit alt text. So I'll click on that. And then in this box that pops up, you can start typing. So we need to type the chart displays the number of passengers in millions for the top 6 airports from 2006 to 2016. Period. Okay. Now I'm done that, I can click the X, and that is done. So we're good with finishing step 7. Step 8, so it notes here that when you change the workbook theme, Excel applies that theme to chart styles. So let's change the workbook theme to slice. So to do that, go to the page layout tab. Themes is on the far left. And so we want the one called slice, which is here. So I'll click on that. You can see that it's changed our style, all our colors and everything for our chart. So we are now done step 8. Step 9, we're going to create a bar chart to display passenger counts for only 1 year. So to do that, we're going to highlight 2 separate ranges. So I'm going to scroll up to where our data is. And so it says we need A5 to A10, so I'll highlight that. And then we need L5 to L10, but that's not next to it. So it's hard to highlight both at the same time. So what you do is you hold down your control button after you've highlighted your first section and then highlight your second. And that allows you to highlight 2 separate parts of your sheet at the same time. So we're going to create a recommended cluster bar chart. So I'm going to go to the Insert tab to get to our charts area. If I hit the recommended button here, so it's saying, yeah, so this is the recommended clustered bar here. So I'm going to choose that and hit OK. Puts it right in the middle there. And we want to move the chart to a chart sheet named bar chart. So to move it, you can right click on your chart. Oh, I don't know why it's saying move here. There we go. And we want to choose move chart. So I'm going to hit that. So you can choose where to put it. So we want it in a new sheet. So I'm going to choose that. And then we get to quickly rename our sheet, whatever we want here. And we want it named bar chart. I'm going to do that and hit OK. And now we have a new sheet where the only thing in there is the chart that we just made. So that's it for step 9. Over the page to step 10. So again, we're going to customize this so it looks how we want it. So we're going to change the chart color to colorful palette 3. So I'm going to click on it, change colors. So we've got colorful in the top, and this one is colorful palette 3. So there we go, turned it all purple. We're going to amend the chart title to Passengers at Top 6 U.S. Airports in 2016. Hit enter when I'm done typing. And then apply style 5 chart style. So chart style, hit the down arrow, find number 5. I think they go in order, so this would be style 5. And then we're going to add alt text again. So I'm going to right click on my chart, edit alt text, and then type in the bar chart shows passengers at top 6 U.S. airports in 2016. And then Atlanta had the most passengers, period. Okay, so we're done with the alt text. I'll close that. That's all we had for step 10. So we'll move on to step 11. So we're going to modify the axes to improve readability of the bar chart. So the first thing we're going to do is change the font size to 10 for the category and value axis. So category would be the airport labels, value would be the numbers. So I just click on the area where those are. You'll see it highlights a box around the outside. I'll go to the Home tab and bump up our font size to 10. And then I'll do the same thing for values. Okay. Next thing we need to do is change the value access maximum bound. So you can see that this goes from 0 to 120,000. You can change where that starts and ends. So if I double click on that, we'll get access options here and the bounds, minimum, maximum. So right now it's 1.2 to the 8th power. So scientific notation if you remember your math class, and we want it to be 1.1. So I'm just going to change that, hit tab, and now it goes all the way just to 110. For some reason, it changed the minimum to a negative. That seems odd, so I'm going to change that to 0. Hopefully it didn't go on your computer like that. And there we go. So when we are done step 11, step 12, we are going to format the data so it stands out, add grid lines, etc. So we're going to format the Atlanta data point in dark blue text to fill color. So what you want to do here is just click on the bar. So if you click on a bar, it highlights all of them. If you click again, it will just select the one that you want. So we need to do a different fill color. So to do that, Chart Tools Format, Shape Fill, and we want dark blue text to fill color. So I'm going to click on that, and now we have dark blue. Okay, the last part of this step is adding primary minor vertical lines. And to do that, you need your chart selected, Chart Tools Design tab, add chart element, and then find grid lines, and then the ones we want, which are primary minor vertical. So there we go. And now we have faint lines in between the dark ones here. So we're good now with step 12. Step 13, we're going to get into a line chart. So we're going to go back to the passenger tab here. And we need a line chart using range A4 to L10. Okay, so A4 to L10. Let me get rid of this so I got my full screen available. So L4 or A4 to L10. And we're going to make a line chart. So I'm going to go Insert, Recommended Charts, and we've got line chart. So I'm going to hit OK. And then we're instructed to move this to a new sheet called line chart. So I'm going to right click and move chart to a new sheet called line chart. Hit OK. And there we are. We're on our new tab. And then we need to add a chart title that says Passengers at U.S. Airports 2006 to 2016. And then we are also instructed to bold it. So I'll go to the Home tab and bold. Step 13 is done. So we're going to customize our line chart. So the first thing we want to do is set the minimum bounds for our value axis. So that's the vertical axis at 4 to the power of 7. So I'm going to double click it. And we want minimum to be 4.0 capital E 7. I'll hit tab. So now our chart starts at 40 million. And it says the maximum should change to 1.1 to the 8th power automatically, which it did. So we're good with that part. Next, we want the vertical value axis display in millions. So we're in the same menu. We could scroll down, display units, millions. Okay, so now it's just got the full numbers, dropped all the zeros, and has a millions title. The next thing we need to do is delete the vertical value axis display units label. Okay, so I'm going to click on the millions and hit the delete key. Oh, there we go, it worked. And now we're going to add our own axis title. So we're going to do that by going Add Chart Element, Axis Titles, Primary Vertical, and we are going to rename that to In Millions. And we're good there. So the next bullet wants us to change the font size to 10 for both axes. So I'll click on it, change that to 10. Do the same for this one, 10. Next thing it wants us to do is move the legend to the top. So if you have your side menu still open, or if you don't, you can double click on your axis or legend, pardon me, and you can choose where you want it. So we want it at the top. So I'll click the top button and it moves it to the top for us. Next, we want to filter the chart by deselecting the odd numbered years. So to do that, if you're clicked on your chart, you'll have this funnel button. So we'll click on that. And this is where you can turn off different pieces of data that are filling your chart. So it's telling us to deselect the odd numbered years. So 2007, 9, 11, 13, 15. And when you're done, you can hit apply. So there, it kind of smoothed our chart out a little bit. And you can click that button to make it go away. And then the last thing we need to do is change the alt text here. Right click, alt text. I'll close that format area so we have more room. And type in the line chart displays trends for top 6 airports from 2006 to 2016 at 2-year intervals, period. All right, close that when we're done. And that's it for step 14. Step 15 talks about spark lines, which are pretty cool. So we're going to go back into the passenger worksheet. And we're going to insert spark lines in the range of M5 to M10 to illustrate the data in range B5 to L10. So I'm going to highlight B5 to L10. So that's just the data, not the labels. And if we go to insert, we have this spark lines area. And we want a lines spark lines. So I'm going to click on line. And so it already picked up the data range because I selected it already, but now we have to choose where to put it. So you can click in this and you can type it in, or if you hit this up arrow, it kind of goes into selection mode where you can select where you want it. And so we wanted an M5 to M10. So doorbell rang, 1 second. Someone doing a little fundraising. So I've selected where it's supposed to go and I'll hit OK. And now we have this little chart, mini chart within the cell related to the data that we selected. So we are done now with step 15. Now what we want to do is we want to customize our spark lines. So I'm going to highlight them and the design tab will probably show up for you. And we want to show the high and low points in each spark line. So what you can do is you can go to the show button or show area, and we want to show high and low. We'll see now it has red dots to show the peak and trough. And the next thing we want to do is apply black text one color to the high point marker. Okay, so marker color over here, and we want to do the high point, and we want to make that black text 1. So that's this one here. There we go. So now the trough is red, peak is black, and we're done step 16. So the next part in step 17 is to go to the questions worksheet. And we have a few questions to answer. So for the first question in A2, enter only the airport code. So let's read the question. So which airport has the most passengers for all years 2006 to 2016? Use the airport code in your answer. So let's go find a chart that shows us which airport had most passengers. So I think the line chart is probably best. And here you can see this airport clearly has the most every year, and I hover over top of it, and it's Atlanta, or ATL. You can also tell it's that color, which leads to that in the legend. So I'm going to type ATL there for Atlanta. Okay. Next one, how many airports had fewer passengers in 2008 compared to 2007? Okay, so let's take a look. So 2008 is green, 2007 is purple, so it's like these two, and I'll scroll over the side. So which airports dropped from purple to the bluey green? So that went up. This is 1 because it dropped, 2 because it dropped, 3 because it's dropped. This is increased. This is increased or almost the same, so I won't count it. So I think it's 3. So I'm going to type that in. 3. What year did JFK start having more passengers than Denver? Okay, so the line chart is probably best for this. So JFK versus Denver. So Denver is orange. JFK is the red. So we're trying to look where they cross over, and it looks like they cross over in 2014. So I'm going to put that into there. Next one is what year did LAX start having more people than Chicago O'Hare, which is ORD. So I'm going to use the line chart again. LAX is green, this green, and then O'Hare is the purple. So they cross here, which is at about 2014 as well. So I'm going to type in 2014 for that. And then what airport had the second highest number of passengers in 2016? Use the airport code in your answer. So we know our bar chart is just 2016 stuff, so I'm going to go there. So who has the second most? It looks like LAX is second only to Atlanta, so I'll put that in. All right, so now we are done done step 17. The next one is we are going to do some groupings of worksheets. So you can select 2 worksheets at the same time, and then you can modify the page setup or the themes or footers like we're going to do at the same time without having to do it separately one at a time. So we want to group the bar chart and line chart sheet and enter the footer. So I'm going to click on the bar chart. I'm going to hold down Control and click on line chart. And now you can see they're both selected at the same time. I'm going to go to page layout because we're going to do our footer, page setup, dialog, header, footer, custom, and then type in what they want. So they want exploring series, then the sheet code and the file codes. We'll hit OK and OK. So that's done for those ones. And then it wants us to group passenger and questions and do the same footer. So I'll do that again. Header, footer, custom, exploring series, sheet, and file. Hit OK. Then you can click on another tab and it unselects them. Be careful to make sure when you start doing stuff later that you've unselected so it's only one tab at a time, or else you can overwrite data in another tab that you don't mean to do. So the next thing we need to do is step 19, set the page formats for the passenger sheet. So, okay, I'm on that. So we need a legal paper size. So I can go to size, legal. We want landscape orientation. Okay. And then we want to change our margins. So I'm going to go to custom margins on the margins button. And we want 0.3 left and right. So I'm going to change this to 0.3, this to 0.3. And then we want to scale to fit one page. I think I can do this in the page tab here. And I can fit 1 to 1. Perfect. I'll hit OK. And we can check our work by going to the File menu, Print Preview, and it all fits in one page. I've got my footer there as intended. It all looks good. So I'll go back, and we are done. Excel Chapter 3, Mid-Level 1.